Mic check. Happy New Year. In 2026, I want to read more books. I want to become more of a bookworm. So ill right now. I wanted to wait until I wasn't ill to record this, but I don't think me being ill is going away anytime soon. I'm not being very hopeful about it. To start 2026, I want to reread some of my favorite childhood books, like Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, as well as Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. This mini book series was always really important to me growing up. It has some of my favorite world building, and it definitely helped shape my taste in media. It's very weird, it's very freaky. I love it. So, so I wondered how many people managed to either ruin the screen adaptation or make it great. In this video, I'll be ranking them all. Let's feel like super obscure. Ugh. From my least favorite to my favorite. These rankings are based on number one, how strong the film is in its production. Number two, how faithful the adaptation is, and three, how well they portrayed one of my favorite book characters, the White Rabbit, my beloved. Wes Anderson Burton. Like, there's no arguing about that. Tim Burton definitely made. God, it's awful. Yeah, it's a two-parter, but I really don't want to watch the sequel. I really can't bother it. I've heard it's like nothing to do with Through the Looking Glass, which is unfortunate because I have a big soft spot for the sequel, like as in the book. A whopping 2 out of 10 for how good the film is. A whopping 3 out of 10 of how faithful the adaptation is, and a solid minus 17 out of 10 for White Rabbit. What did they do to you? Why would you add a war to a story so whimsical and silly, but not even make the conflict interesting or engaging? It's so dull, it's so bland, it's so boring. I'm not big on Burton as a filmmaker or a person. There is some icky coincidences in quotation marks, and I don't know, skin color had anything to do with a vibe of a film. I'm fully aware that black people aren't his vibe in film. I quite like some of his poems and some of his projects, even if my favorite parts of his films were not even by him. This is truly Burton at his lowest, at least what I've seen. Getting the IP of such a beloved story and making it so dull, it's not a good feeling. Okay, number five, because there's only 6 on this list. At number 5, we have Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, 1972. Not that bad, actually. Alice, should be a child, but I don't mind her as a teenager. They didn't ruin the character like Tim Burton did, at least. The songs are nice, maybe a bit too many, and the title doesn't lie. This just covers the first book. A sequel would have been nice, but at least the first one is faithful. I would give it 5 out of 10 for film and like an 8 out of 10 for adaptation. And Bad White Rabbit, like a 5 or 6 maybe. I don't know. At number 4, we have Alice in Wonderland, a 1999 made for TV film. What a fever dream. I loved this as a child. When I rewatched it, and this is such a weird film. It's paced terribly. The acting is bad. The lighting is very, very weird. It's a bit of a nice fresh air because this film is the only one on this list, I think, which isn't a music. Okay, this is one of the only ones on this list which isn't a musical. I feel like some Alice adaptations have a little bit too many songs. This is a weird mix of 2 Alice books. You can tell because Tweedledum and Tweedledee are in it for just way too long. They really overstay their visit. And fucking Robbie Coltrane, Gene Wilder. This for how faithful the adaptation is, I'll give it like an 8.5. I think. I do wish it was in 2 parts, but to be fair, for a 2-hour film, I think they tackled both books relatively well. Maybe not the sequel as much, but it's still decent. And for the lovely White Rabbit, this one is adorable, 10 out of 10, very polite and likable. At number 3, we have Alice, a Czech 1988 horror fantasy film. Okay, first for White Rabbit, he's a 10. Generally, he has just so much aura to him. Film also very close. I'd give it like an 8 because I do really like this film. For an adaptation, this is the film on at least that like strays the furthest away from the source material. This film is a weird stop motion horror film. I quite like the director. I'm a big fan of the director. I like his other stuff. I think this might be like my favorite of his works. But he took such a beloved story, a beloved story that I love, and didn't ruin it. Just twisted it into like this weird horror film, and I am kind of all there for it. Number two, we have Alice in Wonderland, the 1951 Disney animated film. Classic Disney sequels are quite obscure nowadays, understandably. If you took away from the original or were just saw as a cheap cash grab, I'm not sure a sequel would have worked in this situation very well, unfortunately. But once again, this film felt kind of rushed. Once again, they tried to put both books into one hour 15 film. You can't do that with Alice in Wonderland. But yeah, um, they did well. I honestly might swap Alice 1988 and the Disney one around. But right now, I'm fine with this list. At number one, we have Alice in Wonderland slash Through the Looking Glass, a 1985 made-for-TV miniseries. Hell yes, this is the one. This is the one time I've seen someone take the books and really accurately put them onto a big screen, or well, an 80s television screen. This is just a retelling of the books. I haven't been ranking the films. Okay, so for the Disney one, I'd give it like a 9.5 out of 10, I think, for the film. For how faithful the adaptation is, I would give it like a 7. And for how lovely the White Rabbit is, I think I'd give him a 10. He's very polite and likable. For how good the film is here, I'm not sure. I think I'll give it a 9. Okay, for how good the how faithful of an adaptation it is a strong 10. And how good the White Rabbit is, uh, 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 also, by the way, I have a TikTok now. I have. If I'm ever gonna post that, it's beyond me, but you should give me a follow. What the fuck was that?
It's all his morbid imagination. He really has no sorrow.
Oh, shut up, Griffin.
Oh, my dear. Once I was a real turtle. We went to school in the sea. My teacher was an old turtle.
We used to call him Tortoise.
We called him Tortoise because he taught us.
Really, you are very dull.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself asking such a silly question.